Am I the asshole for breastfeeding my niece? My sister, 25F, has a 4-month-old and I, 28F, have a 6-month-old. We are very close, and she asked me to watch her baby overnight last night. She brought bottles and pumped milk, and informed me she'd never tried giving her a bottle but it should be fine, and left. A couple hours later, her baby was hungry. I prepared a bottle and tried feeding her the bottle, but no matter what I did she wouldn't take it. She just kept crying. After 2 hours of trying to feed her a bottle and then trying to spoon feed her and her screaming, and me being unable to reach my sister, I informed my sister of what I would be doing and I breastfed her baby. I guess she didn't check her phone for several hours because I ended up feeding her baby twice before my sister responded, and she was furious. She said I had no right to do that and I should have figured something else out. So I'm wondering, am I the asshole here? She hasn't spoken to me since picking my niece up. Not the asshole. Why was she unreachable over the phone when she has a 4-month-old? What if something serious came up and you went to the hospital with her child? Anyway, figuring it out was her job. You do not give your baby to someone without making sure she even takes a bottle. This needs to be trained. Question. Is this her first child? Not the asshole. What was the alternative? You couldn't reach your sister and the baby wasn't feeding from the bottle. If it was this important to your sister, she should have gotten the baby used to the bottle beforehand. If she didn't have the time, or didn't think of that, she can't blame you for prioritizing making sure her baby was fed when all else failed. Surely that's the priority, even over what your sister ideally prefers, and she wasn't available to ask anyway. The baby was in need of food and was in your care. Not the asshole, but your sister should never have left the child with you without making sure the baby would take the pumped milk from a bottle. Period. And what mother doesn't take phone calls from the person taking care of their baby? Man, upon reading the title, I was very weirded out, but honestly, not the asshole. You tried to give her a bottle. She wouldn't take it. A lot of babies won't if they're exclusively nursed. Mine only did if I wasn't in the room. The fact that you tried for 2 hours and during that time you tried texting and calling, I don't know what else you could have done other than letting her scream. I feel like I would have understood at that point. I could understand a little frustration or feeling strange about it, but trying to look at it objectively, I can't think of anything else you could have done, and at least you fed her child. I had to do that once. The mom left her breastfed baby and then called me that she had an emergency and would be late. I had no bottles or formula, 2 babies and only 1 car seat. She took hers in the car with her. I tried distracting him when he cried, but he was hungry, so I fed him. Note: the mom was happy that I fed him rather than letting him scream hungry for 2 hours. Something else? Like what? What else is there after you've already tried everything? Unless you count the one thing you admittedly completely failed and neglected to consider. Letting the infant scream and starve. Not the asshole. And your sister needs a major reality check if she plans on retaining her rights to continue being a parent. Am I the asshole? A husband wants to go to barbecue despite us having a screaming 6-week-old. Gave birth 6 weeks ago and it's been rough. Recovering from emergency C-section, plus they think I may have a liver-pancreas issue as I keep being unwell, plus my mental health took a dive, let alone newborn care. Anyway, my newborn is screaming anything from 2 to 4 hours every night. Trying everything to soothe and remedy her as most likely colic. So for no meds or methods have changed her behavior. We also have a 6-year-old who has very different needs. While the 6-week-old screams, the 6-year-old needs bath, bedtime story, etc. We've been tag teaming this. One parent on one child to make sure both are okay. But it's still been unbelievably hard on all of us. His guy friends invited him to a barbecue tonight and it would literally be him leaving just as the 6-week-old kicks off. So I said, please don't go. I need help at that time. Keeping in mind his friends meet regularly and it's not like if he doesn't do it today that's it for a year. He kicked off saying, babies cry, just cope. I tried to point out that I know they cry but it's not about coping, and I felt it was really selfish that he was choosing to pick his friends over his family. I even said if it was any other time I wouldn't have a problem with it. He's gone back to work and I'm coping with that, it's just literally that time of night that's tricky. He kept saying that I was being controlling by not letting him see his friends. It turned into a really bad moment for us where I was devastated to be called controlling. I really don't think that's what I'm trying to do and that he just couldn't see it from my point of view. The next day he apologized, said he was completely wrong, could see how bad things would be if he went, and said he wouldn't go. Fast forward to today where he tells me he's going and if I can't cope he'll take the baby and drop her to his mom's to look after. His mom isn't close by, doesn't know all the things we are trying colic-wise like the meds etc. And would have to deal with a screaming baby. Also my baby doesn't know her and is only 6 weeks, so all round not a good solution. He also knows things are a bit tricky between me and his mom, so I feel like this was a bit manipulative on his part, as by letting his mom help she'd find out I'm not coping, and because I would never want her to know I'm finding it tough and I'm unwell, etc. I'd have to back down and say okay then fine, go, I'll stay. He knows I'd never pick his mom as an option, but can now say he's found a solution where he can go. I feel like I'm going crazy here. I just want some support from my partner at the time of the day it's most difficult with our baby. Not the asshole, tell him to take the 6-year-old to his mum instead. Not the asshole. You are welcome to attend your barbecue tonight. Tomorrow night, you will stay home with baby and child while I go out and have my break. I can guarantee he won't agree to that. Not the asshole, you're approaching the worst bit for infant crying. He needs to be supporting you. Check out this, it will hopefully make you feel less alone. There's also a graph on the eye section to show that your baby is well within normal for crying. It's just hard. Not the asshole. The comment, babies cry just cope, would have him sleeping in his mother's house if he was my husband. Not the asshole at all. Sorry, but your husband is being completely unreasonable. We have 2 kids, just turned 2 and 7 months. We have an agreement that if either of us go out it's after 7 p.m. once both are in bed. Which means we both still get a social life without leaving the other in chaos. Now our youngest is 7 bedtime is easier so he can do it solo, so have relaxed that rule, but I would never have coped with both of them at bedtime when youngest was only 6 weeks. It's only going to be like this for a matter of months. It's not much to ask him to make a few sacrifices during that time. Especially as he can still go out a bit later. How would your husband feel if you went out and left him with the 2 of them at that time? Not the asshole. This is so infuriating to read. I'm so sorry he is treating you like this after everything you've been through. If I had a partner who carried my child for 9 months, had major abdominal surgery, and suffered ongoing health issues to ensure the safe delivery of my child, I'd be worshipping the ground they walked on for the rest of my life. He's being incredibly selfish, invalidating your feelings, and there's just no excuse for this other than pure selfishness. If he really wanted to see his friends, he could have worked with you to find a day, time that suited. If they're really his friends, they'd be more than willing to move things around to accommodate his sick, injured wife, sick newborn, and 6-year-old. Am I the asshole for leaving my mom's house after she went through my stuff without my permission? I, 18 male, went to the store to pick up laundry detergent, and returned home to see things in my room weren't where they were, including my locked safe that only I had access to being open. I came out of my room and my mom was holding my dab pen, legal for my age in my state, and a fake ID I had while I was in college, and was furious. She was yelling at me and cornering me in my room, so when she went outside to smoke, I packed my bag with a few sets of clothes, and left. I am now living with my dad halfway across the state. Now, things get complicated. When I was 16, my mom set up a custodial account under my name that I could use for my direct deposit for my job. If you're not familiar with a custodial account, it's a bank account that both you and your parents have access to. It's like a joint account, however, the adult is not legally allowed to mess with the funds in the account. When I left, my mom transferred all of my money out of the account. I called her out on this, and she responded bluntly saying things like, I only did it to get you to pull your head out of your ass, and, if you had any sense you'd know my intentions with your money. I have not seen the money since. She has brought the account into overdraft, and refuses to put the money back unless I come back to her house to get a check. I refused to pick up a check and requested the money be put back into the account so I could transfer it out myself and close the account. She refuses. Am I the asshole for leaving? Not legally allowed to mess with the money but has access to do so? Sorry, just trying to understand how the account works. Not the asshole, your mum crossed your boundaries by going through your stuff and you have a right to move in with your dad. You earned the money and are entitled to it. Her withholding it from you is a toxic manipulation tactic. What does your dad have to say about this? Not the asshole, if the adult is not legally allowed to touch the money, then you need to go down to the bank, tell them what happened, and demand they give you your money back. This is fraud and/or theft. Your mother is abusive and manipulative. The fact that you think you might be an asshole for leaving a place where you are being abused is very concerning. Please try to talk to a professional at some point if you can, because I think this is an indication of a much deeper issue. So get your pay stubs and bank records. You may be able to report her to the police for theft. Not the asshole, glad you're seeing her for who she is. So sorry that you got shortchanged, in both senses, in the mom department. She isn't going to change most likely, so you may have to go no contact for your own mental health. It's your life in the end, so while burning bridges is usually a bad idea, particularly at your age, if in a few years you feel like that's the right thing, it's a choice you can make then. In the meantime, of course, I would not go back no matter what, unless you bring cops with you. And call the police. She is stealing from you. Am I the asshole for taking my girlfriend's dad to court? Made a whole account for the first time because my friend said this would make for a good story here. I, 19M, have been dating my girlfriend, 18F, for about a year. A couple weeks ago, I got pulled over while driving home from her place, and just my luck, the officer who pulled me over was her dad. Although very awkward, he kept it purely professional, said I was speeding, and gave me a ticket. Now, if I was speeding this would have been perfectly fine, but the problem is, I wasn't. I have a dashcam that logs GPS and speed data, and I checked it as soon as I got home. It clearly shows I was going under the speed limit the entire time. I told my girlfriend I'm planning to fight the ticket in court. She's really upset and says it's going to cause a lot of tension with her family. She thinks I should just pay the fine and move on, even if I wasn't speeding. From my point of view, this isn't about her dad personally, it's purely about not wanting any marks against my license. She feels that by taking it to court, I'm basically accusing her dad of either lying or making a serious mistake, and that could put him in a really difficult position professionally and personally. She's worried this is going to cause a rift not just between me and her dad, but possibly between her dad and her as well for being associated with me. I get where she's coming from, and I don't want to disrespect her dad or damage the relationship I've built with him. Honestly, we've always gotten along well, he's a tough guy, but I respect him a lot, and I know he's just doing his job. I've never had a ticket before, and I pay for my own car and insurance, so something like this could raise my rates and stick with me, especially being so young. I'm not trying to be difficult, dramatic, or disrespectful, but I just don't think it's right to let something slide that could impact me long term, especially when I have clear evidence that I wasn't speeding. I'm still planning on fighting the ticket. I have the dashcam footage, I know I wasn't speeding. But my girlfriend is incredibly upset. She's been distant ever since I told her, and lately she's barely talking to me. I can tell she's really hurt and stressed about the whole thing. She keeps saying I'm choosing a stupid traffic ticket over her and her family, which is technically true. But that ticket comes with a lot more than just a one-time fine. I don't want to take the blame for something I didn't do, so I've already plead not guilty and have the court hearing scheduled for a few weeks out. I think this is the right move by putting my future first. No assholes here, but your girlfriend's being unfair as hell. You didn't go looking for a fight, her dad wrote a bogus ticket while in uniform and you've got proof it's bullshit. That's not choosing a ticket over her family. That's not letting someone screw up your insurance, record and money for no reason. If her dad's a decent cop, he'll accept that you're just using your right to defend yourself. If he isn't, then yeah, maybe that rift was coming either way. You're not disrespecting anyone by standing up for yourself, especially when you've got the receipts. Tell her you're not putting your life on pause just to avoid her dad's feelings. If that's too much for her, that says way more about where this relationship's headed than a damn traffic court date. Do not ever admit fault if it's not true. Especially if you can prove it. If this implodes your relationship, then you dodged a bullet. Not the asshole at all. If her dad is a crooked cop, then it will hopefully bite him in the ass at some point. If it happens to be you, that exposes him, and she can't see reason, then you're better off without her, and her corrupt cop dad baggage. In TA, a couple things can happen in traffic court. If the officer doesn't come to court, the case will be dismissed. This would be a gracious out for dad. The second thing, it will be your GPS and dash cam against his radar. I am not sure how accurate your evidence will be, but radar needs to be calibrated every so often. You could challenge the radar accuracy if the officer does not know when it was last checked. Another thought, there is probably a YouTube video explaining how to fight a traffic ticket. I work in law enforcement. We make mistakes. However, that doesn't excuse the mistake when it's found. Go and have those marks removed from your license and take it to court. Not the asshole. Your GF, however? In not the asshole, you should fight this. And your girlfriend needs to consider why she'd rather you get a mark on your license instead of telling the truth. I personally would fight it. No telling what will happen in the future. I don't think it will have any professional difficulty for her father. People contest speeding tickets all the time, and if your girlfriend and her family react poorly about you doing the right thing, then better to find out sooner rather than later that her family is not one you want to be joined with in the future.